having that knowledge builds a tremendous amount of confidence, and the confidence is what now allows you to not back down or be startled if an insurance adjuster or an attorney or someone else tries to challenge you, because you realize they don't know what you know. There's a tremendous amount of information that you get from diving in and trying to discover, is there a spinal ligament injury? Like, something that comes to mind, and this was a case that you helped me with as well. My associate doctor, Dr. Zach, a patient of his that he saw, you probably remember this. It got a little messy. This was a story of basically the wrong attorney taking a case, and then we had to have the patient, well, that patient decided to then fire the attorney and get a different attorney. And the reason, this poor girl, she had significant injury. She had 4 levels of almost 4 millimeters of excessive translation motion in her neck, 4 levels in her neck, 4 millimeters plus on
Right.
each
Tore
segment.
up. Tore
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Awful. And her attorney, who I talked to, and I was just trying to give it to him on a silver platter to be like, look, when the insurance company says there's nothing there and there's no problem and it's just a soft tissue injury, so it's an ice pick in your testicle, right? Is
Yes.
it is I said, do you understand what's going on with your client's injuries, the patient that we even referred to you for you to represent? I didn't realize you didn't know this stuff. Can I go through and explain this to you so you can better understand this? And I went through and I basically just, like I said, just spoon fed this person and explained it, talked about AMA guidelines, what this means, what this is going to mean for her future. And this guy was just unwilling to basically take that information and comprehend it. Instead, he said, well, I just talked to the insurance adjuster and they just said, because there's only this much damage to the vehicle. And I'm like, you suck at your job, don't you? And so essentially the patient, I relayed this to the patient. I said, here's what's going on with you. Your attorney is unwilling to take the information that we've explained and being able to represent that to the insurance company. So your options are either continue to go the route that your attorney wants you to go. You have every right to talk to your attorney, see if they're going to do something otherwise, or you can get a different attorney. And so she got on with him, fired him. We took one of our other attorneys who actually attended back in the day when you came out in person and you did the presentation at our clinic for one of our impact events.
Yeah.
It was one of the law offices that came and attended.
Yeah. You thought I was a little hard on him.
Yeah. Yeah. But whatever. Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa.
And I probably was.
It was funny. We had a handful of attorneys come attend. Dr. Kronk was doing a presentation for them at one of our impact events. It was a 5-day impact event that we did. It was like this massive, we had chiropractors fly out.
Phenomenal event.
We had a video crew there filming it. We broadcast it. We had like 30 or 40 offices watching this online. And anyway, on a Friday night, we catered this event, had attorneys come in. Dr. Kronk's there, does his presentation for the attorneys so that we could all see how he would speak to attorneys. And it was funny because it wasn't like, hey, everyone, come on in. It was like a drill sergeant and he's just going through and kind of putting them in their place and kind of, stirring them up a little bit. And at first I'm thinking, oh man, he's being pretty harsh to these guys. But ultimately it resulted in building trust and rapport, and they had good conversations afterwards. And this is one of the attorneys that we've continued to work with, that we took this patient who is being poorly represented by this other attorney. She fired the attorney, went to this other guy. This other guy, at the end of the day, took the information that we presented on the spinal ligament injuries, used that to confidently talk to the insurance company and said, no, this is a major issue. And ultimately the patient was able to get benefits that they were rightfully entitled to. They got a much better settlement, and everything went well, minus the new attorney having to deal with the old attorney. That was interesting. He shared with me some of that communication. I was like, man, these attorneys are just brutal with each other. I mean, just like F you and this and that. And I mean, writing nasty emails to each other and just trash talking. Something else too in that case, I'll just add, is that something else that we did is I had the patient go do a consultation with a neurosurgeon who I know. And this neurosurgeon knows that we understand spinal ligament injury and instability. Just to make sure, I even pointed out to the surgeon, I showed them, I said, look, this is the actual textbook justification for a fusion surgery when there's instability. And that's something that I got from you, obviously, Dr. Kronk, and showed that to him. And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And I said, and so here's how we measure this per the AMA guidelines. And here's how much instability she's got going on. So he does a consultation. This definitely helped because he documented that she's got massive instability. And at some point, she's likely going to need some sort of spinal fusion surgery. Now, we're not going to be sending her off for spinal fusion surgery because we're going to do conservative rehabilitation, but she does have a massive injury.
Yes.
The way neurosurgeons look at it, they have their hammer, everything's a nail. That's a perfect nail. But we have, I think, a better hammer to be able to fix a lot of this stuff so it doesn't have to go to that drastic extreme.
I'm feeling the therapy, man. I'm feeling the therapy already.
Yeah, you feel good,
Here's
right?
the thing. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what I'm saying, Todd, is that look, in the market today, in the spinal injury market, one of the things I say is the blind are leading the blind, right? The blind are leading the blind. But if you can see, you can lead the blind. And that's exactly what you did. You took, okay, some attorney goes, oh, wow. The insurance adjuster said what? What, you talking about the 23-year-old insurance adjuster that just got out of college that, has been trying to figure out claims for the last 6 months. And so one of the things that's interesting, and doctors, if you're in this market, you have to put up with this. The personal injury attorney market is the only lawyer market that does not study the condition that it represents. Now, you got to let that sink in. Okay, if Todd and I are in a contract and I get injured with a contract, I'm hiring a contract lawyer. They spend their weekends, they do CE, they geek out on contract law. How do you break contract? What's the best language? How do you counter that language? They study everything there is to know about it, right? Imagine going to a contract attorney that doesn't really study contracts, right? Imagine going to an asbestos attorney. Let's say a patient's got asbestos exposure and you go to the asbestos attorney and they've never studied asbestos. They've never studied where does it congregate in the body? How do you test for it? How do comorbidities actually interact with it? What are the symptoms that the person sees with it? What are the standard workups for it? They didn't know any of that, right? You go to a personal injury attorney today, and this is why we have a program called Smart Injury Lawyers Program, and it's for training for attorneys, and say, have you ever studied the injuries that you represent? And they're gonna say no. Now, their number one thing that they say is we rely on the doctor's notes. That's hey, this is our comeback. We rely only on the doctor's notes. Now, that'd be like a car. Remember, an attorney, and when I use car salesman, I want to preface it. An attorney is basically taking injuries and selling it to the insurer. They're taking the patient's condition and they're selling how bad it is to the insurer. So they're the salesman of the injury. They don't go to court a lot. They settle this stuff right over the phone. So they're insurance settlement brokers. They're salespeople of the injuries, right? Now that'd be like a car salesman actually saying, I don't need to know anything about the features of the car. I don't need to study the features of the car. That's the damn engineers. They geek out on that stuff. We rely on them. I just sell the car, right? That's what they're saying when they say, I don't need to study the injuries. I rely on the doctor. And I say, let's say an attorney wants a settlement. They want $1 million from an insurer. They want $100,000 for an insurer. And they want to say, this is so damn significant, but it's so damn significant, I don't have to study it. Other people have to study it. I mean, it's ridiculous what passes off. So what I'm saying is when you know those 3 injuries, you can start to lead the blind because it's a very blind leading the blind market.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Move Now Chiropractor podcast. And be sure to join our free Facebook group, Functional Movement for Chiropractors, to learn more about how Move Now University can help you with your systems and your clinical practice. Be sure to watch our 30-minute pre-recorded demo at demo.movenowu.com. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you on the next one.